But let's get into the player ratings. We're going to start off with Big Vic, and Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. He was actually brilliant yesterday. Really important saves, particularly in that second half when he tipped it on where Wood had an open goal pretty much and bashed it along the post. But a number of good saves, and I thought he used his box really well and commanded his box really well. So big up to Vic.
Yeah, and I think from set pieces as well, he was pretty strong. Yeah, that save from Yates was the crucial moment. If that goes in, then we're in big trouble. So it was a fantastic one-handed save, and had to make himself big for that Wood miss as well. Might try and make it as difficult as possible, however hard that is. And I thought he had a really good display. I was really happy with him, and crucial saves at crucial moments, and that's been the story of Vicario's season.
Pedro Porro up next. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I was actually quite disappointed with Pedro in the first half. I thought out of position a couple of times, defensively a tiny bit poor. But in the second half, I thought he grew massively. He was a key part to why we were so dominant and going forward, and obviously got a great goal as well. So big up to Pedro.
Yeah, I thought much better in the second half yet again. I thought was really effective. I thought there was that one moment he got caught out in the first half through Ole Einar, got in behind him and obviously set up that chance for Yates. But other than that, I thought he dealt with Hudson-Odoi pretty effectively. I thought Hudson-Odoi had very little, apart from he had one shot on target, which was easily saved from Vicario. And then in the second half, I thought he was much more involved, getting to the byline, getting some really good deliveries into the box, and obviously a brilliant strike, which put us 3-1 up as well. Needs to be doing more of that. We know how good he is with his ability in front of goal, so I want to see more goals from Porro, but I thought in the end had a really good display.
Kuti Romero, 8s all round for Kuti. I thought another really good display. And a lot of these good displays from Kuti are going under the radar at the moment. And I think the way he is so calm and measured at the back, as well as adding that aggressivity in his game as well. He was very unlucky not to stop the goal that we did concede. And he just does everything. Strong at the back, brings the ball into the midfield, ball playing ability. I mean, I think this guy is a top player, and I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves this season.
Yeah. I think his passing is sensational. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. He's one of the best passers out the back in the whole league, in my opinion. I thought he had another phenomenal performance on that display. I thought he was actually really aerially dominant. A lot of long balls played to Chris Wood, which he dealt with really well, and made sure that Chris Wood wasn't getting the joy that maybe he has done previously.
5 out of 5 aerial duels won.
Well, there you go. I thought he was very dominant in the air. And he sets us up on attack so well. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So fantastic display from Kuti Romero. And as you say, I think because Van de Ven makes those like lung-bursting challenges in behind, like they're very obvious and evident, but Romero does like these little tackles where he just wins possession without you barely noticing, and they're not as well publicised, let's say.
Yeah, and the only thing that gets publicised with Kuti Romero is when he makes an error.
Yeah,
like that's the only thing that people talk about with Kuti, and they don't give him the props when he deserves it. And it seems like week in, week out, he's putting in like quietly unbelievable displays. Kuti, so big up to him. Next up is Mickey van der Ven, our man in the match on the day. 9s all round. I thought it was an unbelievable display even before he got that goal. Putting out fires. There was one moment when Callum Hudson-Odoi looked like he was all but in, and suddenly Mickey van der Ven just appears out of nowhere and just calmly just takes the ball off him. Time and time again, he was putting in last-minute ditch challenges that really kind of stopped Forest attacks or potential Forest attacks, and obviously that goal as well. Someone had to take a dig at that point, and it was Mickey van der Ven, and he rifled it into the top corner. A sensational effort from him.
Yeah, best player on the park, even without the goal. The goal just tapped it off. The amount of recoveries he makes is astonishing. If it wasn't for Van de Ven, I do feel like our defence would be a lot more exposed than it is. He's just a phenomenon with his ability to track back and make sure that there doesn't come a chance from moments where there would have been a big chance. So unbelievable from him, and I thought it was an unbelievable display. He barely put a foot wrong. He was quite out of position a bit for the goal, I would say. Obviously, he comes over and has to try and make up for a doggy being out of position. But I thought it was a phenomenal display from him. And obviously that goal capped off. And who knew he had 25-yarders in him as well.
Yeah, unreal. Udogie up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought he was struggling in the first half. You could see that. He was completely out of position for the first goal, which led to a whole heap of problems at the back and a lot of space being kind of utilised by Nottingham Forest. And again, time and time again, he was getting the Forest right on the right side were getting the better of him in terms of Nico Williams and Elanga. But I do think he massively improved in the second half. I thought he was back to his kind of usual self, bulldozing runs forward, and also quite solid at the back. I don't think anything got past him in that second half. So I gave him a point, an extra point just for that second half performance.
Yeah, it was definitely much better in the second half. Was linking up really well with Timo Werner actually on occasion. Werner was, I really enjoy it when the ball is played quickly to Werner. He does a little delicate flick into Udogi, who then bursts into space it's like a relay team in that aspect. I really enjoy those things when they do it. I did think Elanga gave him a tough time, to be honest. I think throughout the game I thought he was struggling to contain him. Did a better job of it in the second half, than he did in the first half. Obviously was caught out badly for the goal in the first half, and I thought Elanga was getting some joy out of him. By and large, he did pretty well come the second half, but again, I don't think he's been in the best form actually, Destiny, so wasn't his best game again.
Yeah, Mate Sarr up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. Got taken off at half time, and I think rightly so, because I just don't think he was at the races, to be fair, in that first half. A very uncharacteristic performance from Mate Sarr. Off the ball, he was a bit of a liability, and it got a lot better when he went off.
Yeah, again, lacked a bit of bite, lacked that bit of aggression that you associate with Mate Sarr. As your favourite phrase, he covers every blade of grass. He wasn't quite doing that yesterday, unfortunately. He did have a few moments. I remember there was one high overturn which he caused, which put Spurs on the attack, and we nearly benefited from it. But I think it was more off the ball what he was doing in terms of the defensive transitions, just allowing Gibbs White way too much influence in the game, and he was kind of buzzing around and causing a lot of problems for Spurs. And we just weren't getting close enough to Forest when they were in those attacking transitions, especially in the second half of the first half. And unfortunately, he got hooked for it. So I think on the ball he was okay, but I think his lack of intensity off the ball is what cost him.
Basuma up next. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. And it was like such a weird half from Basuma, because he's another one that got hooked at half time. But I thought first 20 minutes he was brilliant. And the last 20 minutes he was absolutely shocking. So it was hard to rate him, to be honest, because first half he was doing everything that you want him to do. Strong in defence, driving forward, taking shots, being a thorn in their side. And the second half, he was nowhere to be seen. He completely let his standards drop. Off the ball, he was terrible. He kept getting caught out of position as well. I mean, it was just shocking, those last 20 minutes. But the first 20 minutes, I thought he was really good. Yeah,
I thought he started off really well, was getting to really good attacking positions. Obviously, heavily involved in the first goal as well. A couple of really nice passes in the build-up, which led to obviously Timo Werner getting the assist for the first goal. But again, just like Sarr, I thought it was what he was doing more off the ball than it was on the ball, because I thought in defensive transitions he was caught cold and nowhere to be seen, and it was lack of positioning, not being aware of the danger, and on a couple of occasions it led to Nottingham Forest obviously first getting the goal and then having a really good chance to make it 2-1 as well. And I thought Basuma was kind of just being languid, wasn't getting involved, wasn't being aware of the danger, and that's what led him to being hooked at the break. I thought he lacked a bit of bite in the middle as well, and Højbjerg came on and changed that. So really good from Basuma. Really good in the beginning, but unfortunately that lack of aggression intensity really cost him as well, a bit similar to Sarr, so had to be hooked.
Yeah. Madison up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought he was poor in the first half. Didn't see anywhere close to what we need from James Madison, but I do think he improved in that second half. He was a contributor quite a few times. 4 key passes on the day, which shows you that he still has that output level, and obviously was heavily involved in that third goal as well, with a lovely cross into Bentancur, who nicely guided it to the back post to Pedro Porro. So I do think Madison improved, and it's a weird one because like he'll probably having his best part of the game as he was getting taken off, very similar to the West Ham game.
Yeah, I thought he had an influence. Obviously, Yates was surrounding him like a rash every time he got the ball. He was fouling him very consistently, and that also is an indication of how Yates was struggling to deal with him. But as well, that little punch from Madison, which I marked him down for a bit because he lost his head and couldn't get himself sent off, and gave the VAR a decision to make. And if that moment goes against Spurs, you know, that could have easily cost Spurs points in this game, and that would have been very, very frustrating. I think in general, obviously, he did make an impact. was creating a few chances, heavily involved in the third goal with a really good ball into Bentancur, heavily involved in the first goal, some good build-up play into Heung-min Son. So there were some really good moments from him. Still not those sprinkles of magic that we know he's capable of. Madison said after the game he feels like he's getting back to his best, but he's not quite there yet. And let's hope in the last 7 games of the season we do see him back to his best.
Yeah. Let's move on to Heung-min Son. 7s all round for Sonny. Look, I thought it was a good display. Nothing miraculous from Sonny, but involved in 2 of the goals. First goal, he was involved with the nice pass out wide to Timo Werner, and the second goal, he obviously played it to Mickey van de Ven, who rifled it into the top corner, and could have got a goal on the day as well, with keeper providing a nice save and pushing it onto the post. So I think he was heavily involved in our good moments. He non-stop running and non-stop energy, like you're going to get from Sonny. But it's always hard for him against these kind of low block teams.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously he did have that one moment, as you say, which he did hit the post, and that would have capped off a nice display from him. But he did struggle to kind of get into those goal scoring positions, and that was a frustration for him. But again, in his build-up play, I thought he was pretty good. As you say, he was really good in the build-up for the first goal. Nice little pass to Van de Ven for the second goal, though it is a simple pass, but you have to find it, and the weight of pass has to be correct. And I did feel like when he's coming into those deeper positions, Forest weren't really sure what to do, whether to go towards him or just stay in their position. I think by and large they did just stay and let him have it. I thought he was fitted in and out of the game. When he was in it, he was dangerous, but when he was out of it, it was hard for him to impact the game. He did move over to the left-hand side late in the game, and I felt like wasn't maybe at his best on the left-hand side either. So I thought he contributed positively enough to get a 7, but obviously with a player like Son, you want to see him involved more.
Brennan Johnson, 7s all round as well. Look, I thought he was a threat for pretty much most of the game. He was getting the ball, he was being aggressive, he was attacking his fullback, and he got the better of him on a number of times. On another day, he could have ended up with the goal and assist. Obviously, it was his pass to Sonny, which, where the keeper pushed it out to the post. And he could have got a goal as well when he was in the right area for that Timo Werner cross. So he just couldn't put it past the keeper.
Yeah, and I think he's becoming a bit more unpredictable in terms of that assist he nearly had for Son, who at the post was a brilliant run inside rather than just consistently going on the outside. Could have got a goal, which if it wasn't for a really good save from Matt Sales right inside the 6-yard box. Should have been finishing that. He'll be disappointed. He'll be disappointed on a couple of occasions he didn't get a finish on one of those Timo Werner crosses. But I thought he impacted the game really positively. He was constantly an option. I think one of his crosses as well was deflected onto the crossbar as well, so had a really dangerous moment there. And he was a constant threat, so he was good. Again, impacted the game positively, but he'll be disappointed he didn't get a goal contribution on the day.
Timo Werner, last of the starting 11, we gave him an 8 all round, and he was the most threatening of our attacking trio that we had on the day. Obviously, he's the one that put the cross in for the own goal in the first half. Moments later, he puts in a carbon copy cross that finds Brennan Johnson where he probably should be doing better. And I just thought he was a constant thorn in the side of Nottingham Forest, and the right back just couldn't deal with him pretty much on the day, and he was getting the better of him time and time again. And this is what we need from Timo Werner, just to keep attacking, and I think that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and I think Nico Williams really struggled to deal with him. He knew every time he got the ball, he was going to go down to the left-hand side, and he just couldn't stop it. And what I liked about Timo is every time he did get to the byline, more often than not, it was a really good delivery, obviously for the own goal, for the Brennan Johnson chance, he flashed one across the face of goal which Johnson didn't gamble on. He also put one across the face of goal which Johnson went went for a high foot instead of a header as well. That could have been a good opportunity. So delivery is getting a lot more consistent with Timo Werner, so I'm really, really happy about that. Obviously, someone who scored the amount of goals he did in Germany, you'd like to see him getting a few more goal scoring positions. He's obviously much more focused on assisting in this current system, but as long as he's assisting consistently, I don't mind. So really, really positive from Timo Werner, and how he stretches the play is really, really effective. And at the moment, he's our most dangerous player, so absolutely brilliant from him.
Substitutes, going to start off with Rodrigo Bentancur, who came on at half-time. 8s all round for Rodri, and I thought he showed his best self yesterday, Rodrigo. He came on, provided an impact, grabbed himself an assist with a lovely header to the back post of Pedro Porro. But he just produced that calm in the middle, that drive in the middle as well, and he just impacted the game in such a positive manner.
Yeah, fantastic from Bentancur. Great cameo. Played well for the whole half. Added that little bit of more bite, which was really, really effective in that second half. I thought his obviously passing was really great. His moments where he's dribbling himself out of trouble was absolutely fantastic. And I thought he really helped liven up Spurs in that second half. Obviously got an assist as well for the third goal. Lovely little flick header to the back post, which I do think he meant on reflection. Really cleverly guided into Porro's path, so he had a free shot. And I thought it was a really good cameo from him, a really good second half performance, and maybe with a view of potentially starting at St James's Park on the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're really starting to see him now put those injury woes behind him and start to see the Bentancur that we know and love from before the ACL, basically, when he was one of the best midfielders in the Premier League at that point. So big up to Rodrigo Bentancur. Next up, PierreEmerick Aubameyang, 7 from Sim, 8 from me. Raised a few eyebrows at half-time when you saw PierreEmerick Aubameyang warming up in front of the stadium by himself, and I thought he provided a really good option. He sat in the base of the 6, and I thought he did everything that was asked of him really well. He started to even take shots as well. I think 4 shots in the day, and there was even a moment where after he took a shot, every time he got the ball, the Spurs fans started shouting, shoot! And he obliged on a few occasions. But I thought he was really good and provided the reason why we went on and had such a strong display in that second half. Driving force in the middle of the park as well. But it does come with a few down points as well, because I thought after those good moments in the last 15 minutes, he did let his standard slip a few times, and Nottingham Forest nearly got a goal from it. Yeah,
I thought he made a really positive impact. He really helped change the game. I thought he again added that bit of bite in the centre, winning some really good important tackles, which we weren't winning in the first half, which allowed Nottingham Forest to progress up the pitch. And obviously he was a big part of why we got the 3-1 lead, allowing us to sustain that pressure, allowing us to kind of put the boot on Forest's throat. Unfortunately, as you say, in those last 15 minutes, he played a suicidal blind pass across the face of goal, which gave it straight to Elanga, which we were lucky they didn't score from. And I thought his passing just started to get really, really sloppy, and I started to get really frustrated with him. So unfortunately, he did get downgraded a mark for that, which is why I didn't give him as good as Bentancur. But look, the good outweighed the bad, thankfully for us, and we were 3-1 up with a large part to him, so I want to give him the credit. But I don't know why in those last 15 minutes, he started to get really, really sloppy, and it didn't allow Forest back into the game nearly.
Dejan Kulusevski up next, falls all round from Decky, which carries on his poor run of form at the moment. He just looks like a man playing without confidence. Started off on the left-hand side, moved over as well at some point during the last 15-20 minutes. He was on the pitch, and every time he got the ball, just seemed to take way too long to make his decisions. Every time the move broke down when he did get the ball, and it was really frustrating to see him on the pitch, to be fair.
Yeah, had a bit of a stinker. I feel for him because he looks like a guy who's trying things, and he's definitely not like he's trying his best, is what I'm trying to say. And at the moment, nothing's coming off for him. I don't know if it's a confidence issue, or I don't know if it's a reaction to him, being left out of the team last few games. But his last 2 cameos have been pretty woeful, and every time he's tried something, it hasn't come off. He's had some really good, actually, opportunities as well. It's not like he hasn't had chances. He has, and he's wasted pretty much every single one of them at the moment. Hasn't been able to create a chance or get a shot off himself on any occasion. Keeps giving the ball away very, very cheaply. So hopefully that changes sooner rather than later. But it's been really, really poor last couple of games from him.
And the last player that we are going to rate is Giovani Lo Celso. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. And I actually thought he was bright when he came on. He always got on the ball, looked to make stuff happen. Just nothing did happen from the moments that he did provide. So he was looking energetic. He was looking positive. But nothing really did happen from his good play.
Yeah, bright cameo. If Kulusevski was a bit better, he might have been on the end of an assist. If Kulusevski could have been a bit more effective in the final third. Obviously, earned a free kick on the edge of the box as well, where Danilo definitely should have been sent off. So he got a big whack on the knee with a Danilo stud. So that looked like a painful one for Lo Celso. Thankfully, he got up from it and he didn't stay injured, which we know Lo Celso can do. Yeah, I thought it was a bright cameo and allowed us to see out the game. And also Dane Scarlett, we didn't mention.
Yeah, Dane Scarlett came on the last few minutes. He looked quite aggressive, Dane. I thought he did pretty well. There was one really nice ball he played around the back. I can't remember who it was for. But that was pretty much the extent of his cameo.
There was one moment where if Kulu had a better pass on him, Scarlett was there waiting at the back post. Unfortunately, this pass got cut out. So wasn't to be. Yeah, obviously it wasn't too much. I think he only came on in the 89th minute, I think. So didn't have too much time, but it was nice to see him on the pitch. And maybe from now to the end of the season might start to get a few opportunities.
I hope so. But also just one thing I wanted to mention, that free kick that you mentioned before, what do we have to get Sonny to take a free kick? Why is Højbjerg taking that free kick? And I don't know if you saw it in the replay, like Højbjerg and Son are like, Højbjerg was like, nah, this is mine. And Sonny's like, nah, come on, let me take it. And Højbjerg's like, no, this is mine. Like, Sonny is the captain. Why is Højbjerg calling the shots at that moment in time?
Sonny should be putting his foot down. I'm sorry. As much as I love Son, maybe at that point he was a bit too much of a people pleaser, because he's got to put his foot down saying, look, I'm the one banging free kicks every bloody week for Korea. I'm taking this free kick and not allow Højbjerg to step in. And then Højbjerg goes and hits the wall with a terrible effort. So don't understand it. We get so few free kicks, it seems, in those positions. Like, Sonny has to start taking a few of them. So...
Yeah. It's very frustrating. And I was like, when I saw that back, I was like, Sonny, you need to be stronger than that, man. You need to be stronger than that. You can't be letting Højbjerg take a free kick in a scoring position. Like, it's just not on. But anyway, we finish off with Ange Postecoglou. 7s all round for Big Ange. Again, same issues. We don't assert ourselves properly in the first half, or we concede way too many chances. And this time he did recognise the flaws, and he did make the changes positively to impact that game in the second half, and then we run out deserved victors. So some good, some bad in there from Ange, but I think he made the changes to positively impact the game.
Yeah, proactive substitutions, that's the main thing. We did lose our way a bit in the first half, albeit we did again start really well. We maybe could have been 2-0 up before we conceded, and that would have been very, very positive. So you definitely had the team coming out firing. Unfortunately, we do lose our way, and the team have to learn from that. But as you say, proactive substitutions, and I think we're the best team in the league at scoring between 45 and 60. I think we score a lot of our goals just after half-time at the moment. I think off the top of my head, Brentford we scored 3, Brighton we scored 1. I think Luton we scored 1 as well in that kind of period. So I don't know what it is about half time, but we do come out with a lot of energy in that second half, and changed the game really positively, good subs, and managed the game really well.
Yeah. All right, well, that is our player ratings. Let me know if you agree with our ratings. If not, put your ratings in the comments section below.